Ladies and gentlemen, we are in Coloosahatchie, Florida. It is the last day of 2019, and we are here at the United States Sugar Company, the biggest sugar producer in the country, producing over 700,000 tons of sugar, and they farm 230,000 acres in over 3 counties. This sign is a representation of their company. They say, "Merry Christmas from U.S. Sugar. Without farmers, you would be hungry, naked, and sober." Well, not without factory farms we wouldn't be. The small farming family, Ma and Pa, did us just fine for over 2 centuries. But now farming, like every other industry, is being corporatized. Mega farming is the path of farms in America. And the reason we're here today in Coloosahatchie to demonstrate the power of corporate farming, the power of corporations in America to buy government, to buy the power that government can provide when it comes to lawmaking, rulemaking. We are at the headquarters of U.S. Sugar, better known as Big Sugar. And these companies in South Florida, close to the Everglades, this particular company actually was founded in 1931, just a few years after the massive, historic, catastrophic hurricane that killed over 2,500 people. And it was at that time that Lake Okeechobee began a process of damming by the Army Corps of Engineers. Our federal government decided that they knew better than God and that they needed to dam Lake Okeechobee. So the next time a hurricane came, it wouldn't drown people. That was the government's thinking. So what they did, they put a big dam all the way around Lake Okeechobee, and then they dug a canal into the rivers that flow out the east coast through the St. Lucie and the west coast through the Coloosahatchie, exiting into the Gulf of Mexico right around Fort Myers. Now, as I stated in the previous video, what occurred was the damming of the lake, which was the cesspool for all of the chemicals flowing down from Orlando, Kissimmee chain of lakes, and even as far north as the Ocala area. This is a huge aquifer and above ground freshwater system that collects rain and pollution from tributaries and farming fields all over Central and South Florida. And it ends up in Lake Okeechobee, where normally before 1928, when Florida was natural, the water flowed past Lake Okeechobee and began to simply filter itself through the cattails and the natural grasses. So what we have is a situation where the government has created a massive cesspool, a massive pool of pollution, of nitrates, phosphates, and other contaminants that are killing the fish and marine life. When the lake gets too full, they open up the gates and the floodwaters rush out to the west coast near Fort Myers and the east coast near Stuart, Florida, through the St. Lucie River. This is not natural. And what is happening, this abundance of nutrient loading ends up causing the pre-existing red tide to grow. Red tide is a natural phenomenon. It's been reported as far back as the 1500s by Spanish explorers. It's natural. And the scientists and the experts like to always remind you of that. But they fail to remind you that the loading of extreme amounts of nutrients from the big sugar farming, from the golf courses, all the way north up to Orlando and Ocala, all that water flows down through the chain of lakes, down the Myakka River, down the Peace River, and into Lake Okeechobee. And then when it gets to be the rainy season, the federal government, through the Army Corps of Engineers, opens the gates, and all of that toxic, nutrient-loaded wastewater is flowing out to the east on the St. Lucie River, and it flows out to the west on the Coloosahatchie River into the Fort Myers area. When it goes into the harbors and into the Gulf of Mexico, it just kind of lingers. And that's when the growing process begins. With the pre-existing red tide, this nutrient loading and overloading causes the red tide to bloom in a massive, historic way. And that's why Southwest Florida is being destroyed. The natural environment and habitat of Southwest Florida is being destroyed so that Big Sugar, and it's a group of about 51 companies, but this is the largest. They're the most to blame. Lake Okeechobee has been dammed up to provide them, U.S. Sugar, dry land to farm and grow sugar. At our expense, ladies and gentlemen. What you have just heard is a basic understanding as to what is wrong with government nationwide in this country. You have the best government money can buy. But you know what? We have a weapon. We have a weapon now that is the most powerful weapon ever known to man, and that is knowledge. In the 1500s, the printing press was the weapon of choice in that day. That's how the Christians were able to overthrow the Roman power with the Protestant Reformation. The Gutenberg printing press. But ladies and gentlemen, today we have that same weapon, but electronically. And it's time that we, the people, get organized, state by state, county by county, and fight this corporate fascist tyranny that is destroying our country. Many of you have came to this state on vacation, and you have enjoyed this beautiful, wonderful state and its natural, historic, pristine environment. But it is under threat. It is in danger because of two corporations, two corporate powers, Big Sugar and Big Phosphate. That's right, phosphate mining is now one of the biggest threats to Florida's pristine ecological environment. Its water is being contaminated with radioactive, polluted wastewater from Mosaic Company. Mosaic is the #1 company in America mining phosphate. And their record, their ability to do things safely and properly and lawfully is coming under great question. There have been many cases in recent history where the Mosaic Mining Company has had negligent liabilities in their mining processes. The fact that the state of Florida allows the mining of phosphates in a state like Florida with pristine water aquifers and the susceptibility of sinkholes. The fact that that has been approved is criminal. Who in their right mind would allow phosphate mining in a state that has numerous sinkholes, more than any other state in the nation? And in this process of phosphate mining, you have to build these massive pools to store your radioactive wastewater. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the wastewater is radioactive, full of heavy metals and toxins. And they allow these companies to build these massive pools of wastewater up to 350 feet high. The highest point in the state of Florida is no longer natural. It's a man-made pile of toxic waste in Polk County, Florida. This is unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. This is happening right underneath your very eyes. And you county commissioners are to blame. Polk County, Hardy County, Hillsborough County, Manatee County, DeSoto County, I gotta give you applause. You put a stop to it for a minute. But DeSoto County commissioners, your time is gonna be up in about 9 months to make a decision. You have the decision ability to give this over to we the people. It's too big of a decision for you county commissioners, 5 of you, to make the decision whether or not Mosaic can pollute the county of DeSoto. So I urge you, I beg of you in the name of God, DeSoto County Commissioners, do not approve the permit for Mosaic. Put it up to a vote for we the people with a referendum in the next election of 2020. Who of you will raise your hand, DeSoto County Commissioners, that you don't think the people should have a right to vote on it? Which of you will say the people do not have a right to vote on allowing their county to be destroyed by Mosaic phosphate mining? I'll be waiting to hear from you. You have the email address. If you don't, here it is. Contact us at charlottecountycongress@gmail.com and let us know that you think you know best for the DeSoto County when it comes to the renewal of the permit for Mosaic mining. I dare you. I double dog dare you to admit you think you know best for DeSoto County in regard to Mosaic phosphate mining. The fact is, it's an issue that all the people should decide. All the people in DeSoto County need to decide if they're going to allow Mosaic to flush their corporate toilet down the river into southern counties with their filthy process of phosphate mining. Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. DeSoto County is next. They have the decision coming in the very near future to grant or deny Mosaic Phosphate Mining Company a permit to mine phosphate in DeSoto County. Let your voice be heard. If you'd like to contact us, do so at email address charlottecountycongress@gmail.com. That's a grassroots effort on steroids. So please like this video, share it, click the little alert bell so you get immediate notifications of all videos, and subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Help us build the channel. Let us know what you think. That's it for now, ladies and gentlemen. Be informed, be aware, and know that fascism and corporate tyranny and corporate mega farming is on the march, and they're not stopping till they get everything they want. That's not the American farming way. The American farmer was always the small family farmer. What we have today is pure agricultural fascism. We have the marriage of big government and big farming in bed with one another, committing fornication and adultery against we the people. That's right, we the people are the boss. And we have the ability to change it. And if we don't stand up now, this state of Florida will become a ghost state, a ghost town in the future, filled with dead and dying fish and marine life, and empty hotels, like the one they're building in Charlotte County called Sunseeker, owned by Allegiant Airlines. How about it, Allegiant? How much of a future you think you're gonna have if red tide continues? How about it, Sunseeker? How many rooms you think people are gonna pay $200 to $800 a night if they gotta smell dead fish so that we can provide U.S. sugar dry farming land south of Lake Okeechobee? That's all for now. Have a good night. Over.